Morant with a running start. Elevate! Oh, it dunks! Oh, my goodness!
Tie game in overtime. Gasol will turn his heat. It's gone! Memphis on top. 7-10 remaining. Conley now with three. Count it! A 15-point lead for Memphis. And Blake Griffin gets into it on the floor with Randolph. Hard to tell if there are any punches being thrown under there, but Griffin took acceptance.
Adams going long. Morant! He hit it! John Morant, insanity!
You gotta be kidding me.
Welcome to Grits and Grinds, a Memphis Grizzlies podcast. My name is Keith Parrish. The Grizzlies finally gave Luke Kennard his contract. The Luke Kennard signing that we've been waiting on for about 4 weeks now finally has occurred. He is returning to the Grizzlies for a 1-year deal worth $11 million. That is according to Adrian Wojnarowski. So on today's episode, I'm going to talk about the contract that Luke got, what it means for the rest of the roster, what it means for the luxury tax concerns of the team. Also, let's talk a little bit about Summer Santi having another big game in the Olympics, and also Yuki Kawamura impressed once again. Before we get there, just a word from SeatGeek. If you're looking for tickets to any event this summer, use SeatGeek. Use their easy-to-use color-coded seat map. Find yourself a great deal. And also, if you're a first-time user, use my promo code FASTBREAKBREAK. Same as my Twitter handle, FASTBREAKBREAK. That promo code will get you $20 off your first purchase. You can't beat that deal. So use promo code FASTBREAKBREAK at SeatGeek and enjoy $20 off. All right. Luke Kennard returns to the Grizzlies for a 1-year, $11 million deal. Now, we don't know the exact specific figure. Usually with this breaking news, we get the most advantageous looking number from the player agent. So maybe it isn't exactly $11 million, because I think one of the big issues with this number for Luke Kennard is how it affects the Grizzlies' luxury tax concerns. And they have seemed, the Grizzlies have, very, very concerned about not paying the luxury tax. We've been over that in a lot of episodes. Right now, if Luke is getting $11 million, that actually puts the Grizzlies over the luxury tax line, but just barely. So that's where we infer that that's not going to be the final number, or something else is going to happen. There's no way the Grizzlies are just going to go slightly over the luxury tax line. So right now, I think according to most of the salary cap experts, they're saying if the Grizzlies waive Diakite and just eat the money owed to him, which is around $800,000, this still would slightly put the Grizzlies in the luxury tax. But even if it doesn't, even if this deal is actually for slightly less than $11 million, it puts the Grizzlies so close to the luxury tax line that they have no wiggle room whatsoever to add anybody, to promote Scottie Pippen Jr. into the 15th roster spot that would be opened up by moving Diakite. They have no room basically to add like 10-day guys. It would be too close for them to manage the whole year without going into the luxury tax. So it seems like something else is going to happen. Also, again, if they waived Diakite and they gave Luke all their money up to the luxury tax line, that means you just have 14 players on your roster. And yes, there are advantages to having an open roster spot if you want to think about a trade later where you could trade a guy and bring back extra players. But I don't know if that's more advantageous than actually having a player that can help you. So it seems like maybe there's more to find out still with the roster to give the Grizzlies some breathing room under the luxury tax line. But as of now, I mean, congratulations to Luke Kennard getting this big-ish deal. It's kind of a big number. The team did not, of course, pick up that $14 million team option. That's how this all kicked off, turning down that team option, trying to get him back on a lower number, and they did. Mission accomplished there. Luke Kennard signs for $11 million. Now, as far as like the value of the deal or bringing back Luke Kennard, there's a lot of context I feel like needed to analyze all of that stuff. Right now, we've hit the point of it's either bring back Luke or have nothing else. And in that prism, yeah, it's great. I'm all for bringing back Luke Kennard. That's also been my position for a while. If you're not going to go sign somebody better or someone who plays a different position, by all means, you don't let Luke Kennard go for nothing. So they retain the asset there. So bringing back Luke, it's fine. It's good even. It's better than the alternative, which is basically lose him and not replace him with a equally capable NBA player. Even if I don't project Luke to play like more than 20 minutes a game when the team's fully healthy, it doesn't matter. Keep him and also pay him plenty. The salary amount, I'm cool with it when you disregard maybe the issues it's going to cause the Grizzlies staying under the luxury tax. Like, I assume that they're going to get that worked out. They have a plan to not go into the luxury tax this season after keeping Luke Kennard. But the amount, I'm a person who believes absolutely pay him as much as you could while still maintaining your goal of not being a tax-paying team, because this is matching salary. You take care of Luke, which has its own benefit. I mean, good for Luke and his family. Luke, I've been told, did not want to leave Memphis. He didn't want to move. So because of that, I'm a little surprised he didn't take more of a pay cut. But still, pay Luke that money, but it's important for the Grizzlies and their roster, not just for the value he provides on the court, but also because it's just matching salary for trades. Before this, the Grizzlies didn't really have that much available matching salary. Basically, it was John Conchar. Now, if you add Luke's $11 million and Conchar's $6+ million, that's $17 million in movable salary. I would call it superfluous salary. Yes, Luke helps you with his shooting, but when I do my depth chart, when I project playing time for a fully healthy team, I'm seeing Luke at 20 minutes per game or less. If he plays more than that, I'm going to be angry because that means Vince Williams Jr. isn't getting minutes. So I do think when I say superfluous, I'm talking about a backup player, a backup guy with this $11 million salary. You could theoretically use that in matching salary for trades. That's why you see a lot of times that teams are overpaying for their own free agents to come back. You saw that with the money Josh Okogie got from the Suns, the deal KJ Martin got from the Sixers. It's a massive overpay, but the reason you do it, of course, is to maintain that salary slot. You can keep your own free agent as long as you have bird rights on them, and then you can overpay him a little bit, so then you can give yourself options during this season for matching salary in trades. Now, maybe Luke you don't think is an overpay. That's fine. Luke, a more proven player than Josh Okogie or KJ Martin. But even like the Suns with their Royce O'Neal contracts and their Grayson Allen contracts, they paid slightly a premium, it looks like, because they couldn't do anything else. They just wanted to maintain the salary slot. That's what all teams do, basically, when you're over the cap. So the Grizzlies keeping Luke's contract around, even when you ignore the on-court benefits of Luke, it's a good bit of business. It's a good bit of team building. It's what they needed to do. Also, if you want to compare the salary Luke got to maybe other players you could have gotten in free agency, it's important to remember to bring in someone who wasn't on your team, to bring in like a Gary Trent Jr. or a Tyus Jones or Najee Marshall or D'Anthony Melton or a big like Jalen Smith or Andre Drummond or Gogo Batadze. To bring those guys in, you either had to free up enough space to use your MLE or you had to work out a sign and trade using your MLE or like the Steven Adams trade a player exception. By keeping Luke Kennard and paying him that money that he got, you still theoretically have access to your MLE if, of course, you could shed a lot of salary. And you still have access to the Steven Adams trade a player exception. Important caveat, you still need to move a lot of money now to make that available to you again. But theoretically, those things are still available for you. But I mean, I will say my impressions of this are, I'm surprised that it was $11 million. I was thinking it would be a little bit less just based on the market for Luke. I don't think there was that big of a market for players like Luke and even Luke specifically. And then when you look at the Grizzlies' salary situation, this does apparently make it difficult, seemingly, to keep a 15th player. I mean, even if you keep Diakite as your 15th guy, you're in the luxury tax. So something's got to give there. But if you waive Diakite, still adding a 15th player, it looks difficult. Maybe they have something lined up where they know a team would take John Conchar from them. I think you could even trade John Conchar for someone making less money. Maybe a team would value having just a quality locker room guy, a guy who can soak up some minutes for you in the regular season, and getting a guy on an affordable deal. I say affordable. I mean, it is affordable when you look at the rising cap, but it's also a number where the Grizzlies are trying to move him, or I'm guessing they would be trying to move him. So when you look at the luxury tax concerns again, I think, which they're prevalent, and you have to say that's been guiding the hand of what they do this entire offseason. Otherwise you wouldn't have salary dumped Zaire Williams just to keep Luke Kennard. I mean, I know the price of moving off of Zaire Williams wasn't much, but a second-round pick is something. It's an asset that you used for this purpose. You did not use it for another purpose. The matching salary that you lost with Zaire Williams, that's the thing you actually lost. If you just cared about matching salary for trades, the Luke Kennard team option contract where it was more, a $14 million contract is much more useful in trades than, say, your Steven Adams trade a player exception or the MLE. Those things were more valuable. So if you didn't care that much about luxury tax, you could have kept Luke Kennard. You also could have kept Zaire Williams. You could have kept your 2030 second round pick, and you could have used Zaire plus Luke plus that 2030 second round pick plus other stuff to make even bigger trades. And I don't know if they are going to make a trade. It's all about theoretical trades. This is air quotes theoretical. To me, they're kind of kicking the can down the road. As a podcaster or an analyst, I can say this gives the Grizzlies options to make trades. They could now trade Luke Kennard and his $11 million salary plus Derrick Rose plus John Conchar to bring in a guy making, $24 million. All of that kind of then has to be said. They could do that if they were willing to pay the luxury tax to bring in someone making more than the sum of those guys' contracts. And we still don't know if that is the case. If you're a optimist saying, oh yeah, they just don't want to start the repeater tax, they will pay the luxury tax when it actually matters. Okay, I am not that bright-eyed or optimistic that they are going to. To me, this summer was hey, they're really bending over backwards to avoid paying the luxury tax. So this move further cements that, even if the numbers are slightly off where we're confused why they're still in the luxury tax. It still says we did these things to save money, and that seems like a priority, perhaps over using all 15 roster spots on the best players you can get, or using the most money you can use before going into the second apron. Go all the way up to the second apron. Keep all of your trade options open, and then just pay the tax bill this 1 year with the rising cap. If you desperately have to avoid repeater tax payments in the future, do it then. You can worry about it then. But anyways, Luke Kennard is back on the team, and we now, I think, somewhat know what the roster is going to look like. We assumed a lot of this. We assumed they were basically done. But I think now we can say, yeah, they kind of are done. Maybe there's some question about the 15th roster spot. Is it going to be Diakite? Are they going to pay someone to maybe take his contract? What is the price in second round picks or just in cash to send Diakite to a team, maybe the Jazz, who need players just to get up to the minimum salary, or I think the Cavaliers have roster spots available. If there's only $800,000 guaranteed to Diakite, what does it cost you to get someone else to pay his salary? Then if you fully clear his salary completely, including that $800,000 that's guaranteed, then you have a little bit more space as far as the luxury tax. But right now, I think we're feeling pretty good about the top 10, even if I personally have concerns about their obsession with the luxury tax. John Morant, Desmond Bane, Marcus Smart, Jaren Jackson Jr., Zach Edey, I think are your presumed starters right now. And then your bench, I think your first five off the bench, if you want to call this a full second unit, looks good. Luke Kennard, Vince Williams Jr., G.G. Jackson, Santi Aldama, Brandon Clark. Now in an actual game, you probably stagger Marcus Smart and Desmond Bane's minutes. Maybe those guys will do some more ball handling with the second unit. But those 10 right there, you feel really, really good about. Then your 10 through, or your 11 through 15 guys, You got Jake LaRavia. You got the rookie Jalen Wells. You still have John Conchar. You still have Derrick Rose. And for the moment, we have Diakite, but I don't think he figures into the Grizzlies' plans that much going forward. And your three-way spots are all, again, slightly older players. 23-year-old Scottie Pippen Jr., almost 27-year-old Jay Huff, and then 24-year-old rookie Cam Spencer. This is a good team. It is a very good team. And right now, I think I saw their over-under for this year. It's at 48 wins, 47.5 wins. So Vegas thinks they're going to win a lot of regular season games. If this was like a big market team, if they were a heavily bet team, that over-under number would be even higher. So I think, they're getting respect from like the casinos. And I think most NBA analysts are coming around to the fact that the Grizzlies should be really, really good next year. And Luke Kennard does help that. Bringing back Luke Kennard does help that. Ja Morant's going to miss some games. Marcus Smart is going to miss some games. Hopefully Desmond Bane is done with his injury concerns. Desmond has missed some games in his career, so this adds further depth. It adds further shooting. Of course, Kennard, one of the most accurate three-point shooters in the NBA. Statistically, the most accurate three-point shooter in Grizzlies franchise history. Just having him to space the court, to further open driving lanes for Ja and for Desmond, and to create some avenues for Zach Edey to not get double-teamed. Luke helps in a lot of ways. And then possibly, if they're going to trade for an even better player, Luke's contract will help out there. Now, let's wrap up this episode with a little bit of talk about what's going on in the Olympics, about the Grizzlies players in the Olympics. Basically, this is all about Santi Aldama, who had a fantastic basketball game against Greece. He had to guard Giannis Antetokounmpo a few times, but Spain got the victory. They fell behind early, but then made a ton of three-pointers, helped out by Santi Aldama, who pitched in from the three-point line. He made 3 out of 8 three-pointers, but Santi had 19 points. He had 12 rebounds, got 2 assists, and blocked 3 shots. And now through 2 group play games in Paris, Santi is 9 out of 16 from the three-point line. He's averaging 23 points per game, 9 rebounds per game. He's made, again, 9 three-pointers. That's 4.5 made threes per game. He hit 6, which is a Spain record for most three-pointers in an Olympics game. Santi has been tremendous, and it's always been Summer Santi. You remember last year at the FIBA World Cup, he led Spain in scoring. This year in the Olympic qualifying tournament, he was named Spain's MVP, and now through 2 games, he has been fantastic for Spain, and you hope he can carry that over for the Grizzlies. Remember, Santi is still very, very young. He's 23 years old. He's only 3 months older than Tristan da Silva. He's 4 months older than Dalton Kennard. He is going into the last year of his rookie deal. As you know, he's extension eligible. I don't think he's going to get an extension, but he has been so good in the summer that once again, we feel our optimism growing for what Santi could be. This is not to forget that last year he was very underwhelming. He had an extremely disappointing season for the Grizzlies, like a lot of guys did. On my pass fail episode I did about a month or 2 ago, I gave him a fail. He had a massive opportunity for the Grizzlies last year with all the front court injuries. He basically was going to get all the playing time he could handle, and he struggled. His shooting percentages went way down. He made less than 30% of his corner three-pointers last year. His above-the-break three-point shooting was actually good. So, he ended up with a 35% from 3 number, which is okay. But, the 2-point percentage was way down. We lay a lot of that blame on Ja Morant not being available, but still, his efficiency wasn't there. And he even had, this really long stretch of games where he kind of disappeared. He had, again, all the playing time available to him in the world, and he still was inconsistent, in and out of the lineup, wasn't scoring a lot. I think it was 40-something games where he didn't score 20 points in a game, and it seemed like he would have been able to maybe take advantage of all the playing time that was available for him. But young guy has an opportunity to be a huge piece of the Grizzlies front court alongside Jaren and Zach Edey and Brandon Clark. So it is encouraging. Anytime you see one of your players play well internationally, you get excited. So Santi is having a great summer so far for Spain. Hopefully he carries that over into the regular season. And then we have to shout out Yuki Kawamura, who, if you've forgotten, is a 5'7" guard from Japan who the Grizzlies signed to an Exhibit 10 deal for training camp. Yuki had a monster game as Japan almost upset France. It would have been an unbelievable upset. France was saved with a 4-point play at the end of regulation. Seemed like a phantom foul, but that sent it to overtime. Then in overtime, France ended up winning. But Kawamura in this game scored 29 points, had 7 rebounds and 6 assists. He hit 6 3-pointers. He took a ton of shots. But what an incredible performance by this diminutive guard. Hopefully he gets a chance to play in some of the Grizzlies preseason games this year, but I had to recognize what Kawamura did in the Olympics. And then I guess finally, overall Grizzlies news / Ja Morant news. Ja Morant over the weekend had his he was inducted into the Murray State Hall of Fame. Taylor Jenkins was there in support. And then also today, Ja's agent, Mike Miller, yes, that's the same Mike Miller as in Let It Fly, Grizzlies legend Mike Miller. He was on Shams Charania's podcast, and he was hyping up Ja, saying Ja's ready for all of the work this season. Going to have a very big year. And again, the Grizzlies, despite my issues with how they're going about building the end of their roster or their lack of big moves so far, their top 10 is really, really good. They have some promising rookies, led by Zach Edey, of course, and the team looks like it's going to be great. Just, are they ever going to make that next move to maybe fully go all in and act like they're contending with the rest of the top teams? They are, again, set up to do so in the regular season if they want to. And a bullet point for what this Luke Kennard signing means: paying Luke Kennard all this money, even if it was an overpay, even if there was no market for him, it allows the Grizzlies to not only have him as the player this year, it's a 1-year deal. It doesn't hurt you at all going forward, but of course it remains an option for you to use in trades. So for that reason, I like it in the absence of any other deal. And with that, I think we can end the episode. If you want to support this show, do that at patreon.com/fastbreak. Breakfast, if you join over there, you can get access to my exclusive listener Slack. You can join the Grits and Grinds Grizzlies listener Slack that I'm a part of. Also, you get access to a bonus episode. I'm going to record a bonus episode actually later today for my Patreon supporters. So if you want to get involved with all of that, get those features, and support me as I create these episodes, do it patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. All right, hope you guys have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Go Grizz.